Yeah, so the advice was how to deal with people who are talking bad about you, I believe is what it says. Okay, here's the problem, right? I can say that, remember this, you never have any control over how other people act, okay? You don't, right? So you need to limit yourself. Nailed it. You need to limit yourself in your actions within the stuff that you do have control over, okay? And what you have control over is how you act and how you act in response to people. So my best advice, there's a famous quote, okay? Look, you know what? I'm going to pull out a couple of famous quotes here. One, hurting people hurt others. This isn't always true, but typically a lot of people, the reason why they either talk bad about people or they reach out to hurt other people is because they themselves are hurting. And sometimes it's not right that people do this, but that's a reason why a lot of people hurt other people, is because they themselves are dealing with their own brokenness or feelings where they're hurting inside. Now, caveat there, that does not excuse what people do, right? The fact that people are hurting themselves is not an excuse to hurt anyone else, and no one should ever take that as that. But it's a recognition and an understanding of the fact that a lot of people, the reason why they lash out towards other people or why they do horrible things is because of their own pain that they're dealing with. Now, that being said, what can you do? Because remember, at the end of the day, it doesn't really help you that the fact that a tiger's chewing on your arm because it's got a toothache or because it's hungry, right? You follow me? It's like, does it really make you feel a lot better that someone's bullying you because they themselves are dealing with their own pain? Right? Obviously, at the end of the day, you're still dealing with it. You follow me? So you kind of still have to deal with that at the end of the day. So what do you do? That brings another quote. Another quote I love is, bitterness is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. One of the worst things that a habit I used to do a lot is I felt very bitter and I held on to my grudges against people who had done me wrong for a long time, right? And I was always very bitter about it, right? And what I mean by bitter is I was always very much like, every time I'd think about that person, and I'd shake my fist at the sky, so-and-so, right? And I'd be like, I hate that person, right? And that doesn't help you. It literally is like drinking poison. It's bad for your mental state. And what I started trying to do is letting things go. I started trying to not hold grudges against people. I started to accept the fact that there were people who were going to do horrible things to you. And you gotta kind of try not to take it personally. I know that's crazy, right? You kind of gotta lean into that to a certain degree. Again, that's the way it's gonna work. Now, it sucks, and I'm not even saying that I'm good at it, right? I say that as, oh my gosh, it looks even taller. I flipping love it. Let's go. I'm gonna make it even taller. Let's go get more cactus. It's not tall enough, chat. And that's just something you have to accept to a certain degree. Now, what do? Here's the advice I will give you. One, you don't have to put up with it. Depending on the situation, right? Look, I can only give you advice from when I've grown up. So I'm going to share when I was really young, I got bullied a little bit. I moved to a new place, right? And whenever you're the new person in a location, you're always going to get picked on a little bit as people are kind of sussing you out. And I really didn't know how I was supposed to act as far as new people. And so I got picked on a little bit, right? And I remember one of the reasons here's the problem. Whenever I would go to a teacher, it never really worked out for me. Okay. And I remember, this was when I was really young, elementary school. And I remember talking to one of my dad, and I remember just being honest with my dad. I was like, Dad, the reason I don't know what to do with these guys, because no matter what I do, like, they won't leave me alone. And I'm trying to behave, follow the rules. I don't want to get in trouble. I don't want to make you disappointed in me. And this is what my dad said. My dad said, he goes, son, as long as you're not the one starting the fight, I don't mind if you stand up for yourself and don't let people. And he told me a story about when he was a kid and he got into a similar situation and he had to defend himself. Okay. It's not about starting fights or anything like that. Now, the situation's a little bit different. Schools have no tolerance policies for fighting and things like that. And I'm not telling you, asterisk here. I am not telling you to go and fight your bullies. I'm giving you a personal anecdote from my past. What I am saying is this. My worry was disappointing my dad, okay? I did not want to disappoint my parents and make them feel, I did not want to get in trouble and make them feel like I didn't want to feel like I was doing something bad in their eyes, right? I wanted to be responsible in their eyes. And them relieving that concern from me, I kid you not, the very next day, this guy who had been harassing me and bullying me for a couple weeks came and did it again. And I didn't just sit by and let him get away with it that time. Okay? And guess what? He never picked on me again. Now, I cannot give you advice on how to handle every specific situation because everything is different. But what I can say is talk to your parents, talk to the adults in your life, the people you trust about your concerns. Talk to them about your problems. Talk to you if you have older siblings. Talk to them. Okay? My mistake was going so long without talking to my parents and having that conversation. I am not saying that fighting is 100% the answer or punching your bully is the way to go, right? And again, this is a real world example. People saying mean things about you to your friends is a different scenario. I'm not saying if one of your friends is bad talking you to one of your other friends, I'm not saying the answer is to go up and punch them in the nuts. That's not the answer, okay? What I am saying is have a conversation with your parents or your siblings or someone you trust if you're in a situation where you feel hopeless or you feel like you're on the receiving end of harassment or something like that, and have an honest conversation with someone and let them know how you feel. Now, if it's somebody you're dealing with, a friend, right, who's like an actual friend, the best advice you're going to get is have that conversation with them, okay? Talk to your friend, say, listen, hey, what you're saying to me, I don't like, and I would appreciate it if you did not do this. You're making me feel bad based on how you're acting, okay? I had a friend growing up who, you know what? I'll tell this story because this is another great story that kind of ties into what this person said. I had a friend growing up. We were really good friends growing up. And my friend and I were like two peas in a pod. We hung out all the time. And guess what happened? As we grew up, we literally, it was when we got into like early high school or middle school, or late middle school, I can't remember. But we're in a classroom. And I see him hanging out, and he's talking with the quote-unquote popular kids. No, I didn't jump somebody. I defended myself. I was physically attacked, and I defended myself. I'm a big fan of self-defense to a certain degree. He came up, and I'll finish this note. So this guy who had been picking on me came up, and he pushed me down 3 times. And then I tackled him, and I put the hurt on him. That's all. I won't go into detail. Again, I'm not advocating, that, but I am saying, hey, it worked for me, but I had that conversation with my parents. And my parents said, listen, as long as you're not the one starting the fight, We don't care if you defend yourself.